Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. Star Citizen, Behind the Ships, Esperia Prowler Utility, a new Prowler variant that came out as it is Alien Week in Star Citizen. So let's take a look.
The Prowler utility is a brand new dedicated cargo ship with enhanced stealth abilities.
It trades some of its combat capabilities for more industrial uses.
If you don't want to get detected doing your cargo runs, this is the perfect ship.
This ship is for someone who wants to do cargo, who wants to remain stealthy, and who wants to look sick doing it.
The Prowler utility is different from the baseline Prowler.
Because we had to carve out extra space for the new cargo, that meant that the belly section of the ship had to increase in size just a tiny bit.
It also has a ventral size 2 remote tractor beam, which can be accessed from the pilot or co-pilot seat.
And that will allow you to move cargo freely in and out of the ship. The base version of the ship has these feathers on the wings, which get deployed down when you land, but those are no longer really needed since the functionality is slightly different. And so what we've done now is when you land with this ship, those feathers get tucked up, giving you more space to actually move cargo around the ship freely.
It features 2 size 4 guns under the wings instead of the original 2 size 5 guns, while retaining the remote turret on top with the 2 size 3 weapons.
As the Prowler utility is a variant of the Prowler, rather than a standalone chassis, it gets to share all the cool paints between both versions. And existing Prowler owners, of course, get to benefit from all the new paints that come with the launch of this vehicle.
We've updated the lighting quite a bit in order to sort of just give a little bit more feedback to the player. We've chosen to really lean into sort of the red lighting that we've been doing on the interior of the Prowler in general and push that to the exterior. And so if you're coming down above someone, you just look like this incredibly aggressive silhouette with red lights flashing
Bird of prey.
everywhere. I think it looks awesome.
Compared to the base Prowler, we have stripped out the lower interior
by removing the main section of drop seats and replacing that with a 32 SCU cargo hold.
and added a sort of clamshell door opening on the undersides to allow easy access to the cargo bay.
It essentially looks like a face hugger, but it face hugs your cargo.
There's a new engineering room on the upper deck, which is previously where a component closet was, and it retains 3 of the 4 jump seats up front in the co-pilot foyer and replaces one of those drop seats with a storage rack for handheld cargo boxes. I'm super happy with how it turned out, and I'm excited to see feedback from players and how they end up using it in the game.
We wanted to try and come up with an arrangement of the cargo hold and the tractor beam in such a way that you could potentially swoop in and grab cargo that maybe necessarily doesn't belong to you. My dream would be to just see a bunch of people stealing other people's cargo with this thing in the dead of night and just flying off into the distance.
Wow.
Without ever landing, which would be super sick.
I'm just super excited that we get to launch a more accessible version of the Prowler, which I think is a fan favorite visually, but has just never had its time in the verse. So hope to see lots of these flying around now.
Okay. All right, so I don't know a lot about the Prowler. I mean, honestly, I haven't. I've only come across them in game a couple times, and those were like wrecks. Um, I don't. I can't. I can't think honestly if I remember seeing anyone fly one in a while because kind of like they said here, and as my brother, who is a fan of the Prowler, and I believe he said he was going to see about getting the utility. I saw he has a vid, so I guess he did go ahead and get it. But uh, he had told me before he's a fan of the Prowler and had gotten it before, but I guess it never really lived up to its hype, if you will. Lived up to the promise that people thought there was. I guess it was like really buggy and glitchy or whatever. So they addressed that, so that's good. And you know, so hopefully they've corrected some things with the regular Prowler as they have this thing. Now, one thing I will say is, like I said, I know my brother and some others uh, in uh, Star Citizen Facebook chat group had said, as I said, 32 SCU. That's like seems like it's nothing. And granted, it's not a lot of cargo. I mean, it's not. I mean, my C1, which I sold to, um, you know, end up trading up to get my Mercury Star Runner and the MTC. I mean, that's 64 in itself, and that, if I remember right, the ship was 200 something, and this I believe is three. Um, so like I said, with half the amount of cargo, it is kind of odd. Now, there are a number of hauling missions that have 32 or less. So um, so I mean that's definitely something I guess for people who I guess a little more casual hauling rather than trying to get the big contracts or whatever. But I don't know. It's I mean, it seems fine, and I guess, like I said, I'll have to see more, like when my brother and I'm not sure if any of my other organ mates are getting it or not. Gets to take a look around and everything. And one thing I'm not sure of, as this Alien Week, I kind of figured that all the alien ships would be. I haven't been in game yet today because I just got home like an hour and a half ago. But there'd be some place where you could rent them. But as I'm thinking about it, as opposed to like IAE or Invictus, where it's at a hall and they have the kiosk, I don't know where you would rent them from if they do have it. So I guess I'll have to ask that. Or if the few of y'all watching, if any of y'all happen to look at this video, happen to know, please let me know. But yeah, I mean, again, it's aesthetically it's a nice looking ship, and as the developer was saying, something like, I mean, it's stealthy, so that's great. Maybe you could come in, steal some cargo off of somebody or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Again, as my brother, Raptor Spiritus, put in, I'll probably actually put a link down to his video talking about this. When I edit this after I watch it. We were discussing it prior to it coming out today. It's like, what's the purpose of this ship? And that's, I think, one thing I have found in Star Citizen a lot, or at least in my view of things, as I've, the ships that I have bought and this and that, is I'm as opposed to a lot of people, like in my small org, we have a lot of ship sluts or ship whores. They collectors. They love getting all these different things and everything. I'm a little more utilitarian. I mean, as far as, well, one, I ain't got the money like that to just spend. But if I am getting something, I don't want to just have a bunch of stuff, that's gonna clutter up in my hangars and everything. So it has to be stuff that I can see using. Um, and that I feel there's a use for. Like each of my ships that I currently have a use, and even then, I'm still trying to may have to refine things. Like for instance, as I said, I got the Gray Cat MTC, which I really like it, but as I upgraded to a Star Runner, so I had a ship big enough for it. Not getting going extremely, costly and whatever, like I had mentioned in another video. I was thinking about the TAC or whatever, but as it doesn't have, obviously a med bay or anything, even though I really like the ship, I'm really wondering now if I should Well, I don't think I'd even trade in my MTC for a Nursa. I think it's if I remember right, Nursa is pretty cheap in game. So, anyways, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah, that's the main thing. It's like, so what is this ship for? And I mean, they kind of address that. I guess try to give people a feel like, okay, if you want to do this, if you want to do this, this is your ship for you. But at the same time, it's kind of like, really, is it? I mean, if it were a variant where it, like I said, at least like a spirit had 61, I mean 64 or something like that, I could see it, especially since it costs more than a spirit. Actually, hold on. Let's go here. Bring that back up. Do-do-do. Excuse us. Ships. Oh, Alien Week. Okay, so let's go to Pledge Store. Okay, so again for instance, Spirit. So yeah, the C1 is $125, and that has 64 SCU worth um of cargo. So why in the world? And let's see what the regular Prowler is out of curiosity. Prowler. Okay, so well, the regular Prowler is 440. So okay, I mean that's a good price drop between the two. So I mean I give it that definitely, but um, I mean to still be $175 more with half the cargo capacity. I mean again, yes, it's a stealth ship, so there's that. But huh, I don't know. Yeah, I can understand organic turning and design. More so now, I guess I'm beginning to see why you know some people are just like, yeah, I don't think so. It's not worth it. Again, there's a ship for everybody and their style, like I said. Whereas, of course, the regular Prowler has no SCU space, and of course, it has those jump seats and all those things. And that's one of the reasons why, even though I like the look of it, when I have looked at it before and everything, I'm like, it's not my type of ship per se. Um, but like I said, I guess as I think about it, as I'm talking myself, like I said, if you like that type of design and then it does have cargo functionality and everything, then that does give a little better meshing. Let's see, speed of the regular power Prowler is 200. 208, so it's not even like much faster. Jesus. So, hmm. But again, it's cheaper than the base Prowler. So, anyways, that all being said, yeah, again, it's a neat looking ship. I mean, if you're a light cargo hauler, then maybe that works for you amongst everything. Kind of like a little, as they say, jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, again, it's got stealthy capabilities, so that's good. But yeah, that's my thoughts after watching the Inside Star Citizen, but or behind the Inside Star Citizen. No, Star Citizen behind the ships for the Prowler utility. Um, that's my reaction, my rambles. Excuse me. As always, feel free to share, subscribe. Hope you give me a like if you like my content. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. Again, I just crossed 500 recently. I'm so grateful. Thank you. I mean, it'll probably take another like 10 years before I get anywhere like a quarter of that or double it. But anyways, um, but no, must manifest, must think positive things. So, anyways, but yes, thank you. Hit the notification button so you know when I drop something new, and of course, leave a comment below if you feel so inclined. Let me know what you think of the behind the ships for the Prowler utility. Um, if you are a Star Citizen player as well, what are your thoughts on the ship? And as always, thanks for watching.